So, today, let's jump into one of the most useful things you can learn in English: how to talk about your daily routine. Seriously, it's how we share our lives with people, so let's get right into it. Think about it for a second. Could you, right now, describe your entire day in English, from the moment you wake up to when you go to sleep? Well, by the end of this, you're going to have all the words and phrases you need to do it and sound totally natural.
Okay, to see how all this works in the real world, we're going to follow a university student named Emma through her day. Her routine is pretty typical, and it's packed with common activities that will give us some awesome language to work with.
All right, here's a quick roadmap of Emma's day. We're going to follow this timeline, breaking down the language she uses from the moment her alarm goes off until her head hits the pillow. First up, the morning. And for a lot of us, this is the busiest, most chaotic part of the day. It's also filled with all these specific little actions that have their own unique phrases in English.
So Emma's day starts right here. Now, this sentence seems super simple, but there's one tiny but very useful word in there for talking about time. Can you spot it?
Yep, it's the word around. Using around 7 instead of at 7 just makes you sound so much more natural. It basically means you're not being super exact. It could be 6:58 or 7:05. It's perfect for everyday casual conversation.
Now this is a big one. Emma says she wakes up, but she stays in bed for a few minutes before she gets up. This is a really important difference. Waking up is just when your eyes open, but getting up is when you physically throw the covers off and leave the bed. You always wake up before you get up.
So, the sequence is crystal clear. She turns off her alarm, chills in bed for a bit, and then she actually gets up to go wash her face and brush her teeth.
Okay, next on the list is breakfast. Emma calls it a quick breakfast, and that's another one of those simple words that actually adds a lot of detail to what she's saying.
Now, when we talk about a quick meal, it doesn't just mean you eat it fast. It means it was simple and fast to prepare. Toast with jam, perfect example. A banana, also a quick breakfast. It's definitely not some complicated, fancy meal.
After breakfast, Emma's off to the university. And listen closely to how she describes her travel time. This phrase is absolutely essential for talking about how long something lasts. The structure here is it takes plus a person and then the amount of time. And you can use this for almost anything, from it takes me an hour to get ready to asking someone, hey, how long does it take you to do your homework? It's so useful. All right, we've made it through the morning rush. Now we're with Emma for her afternoon at the university. This part of her day is going to introduce some really key words about how often we do things and about travel. So, during her breaks from class, Emma and her friends often go for coffee. That word often is great because it helps us understand her habits. But what does often really mean? Like, how frequent is it?
Well, let's think of it like this. If sometimes means, every now and then, and always means 100% of the time, often sits right there in the middle. It means you do something a lot, but maybe not every single time. So when her classes are finally done for the day, Emma heads home, but she sometimes makes a little pit stop. And to describe this, she uses the perfect phrase, on the way.
What on the way really means is that the market is already along her normal route home. She doesn't have to make a special trip or anything. It's super convenient because it's right there on her path.
Okay, she's finally home. Time to relax. And she uses this really common, super casual phrase to talk about it. She doesn't say, I rest for 30 minutes. Nope. She says she rests for a while. For a while is the perfect phrase to use when you don't really have an exact amount of time in mind. It just means for a short period. Maybe it's 20 minutes. Maybe it's an hour. It's flexible, and it sounds really natural.
And now we're moving into the final part of Emma's day, the evening. This is when she has dinner, maybe studies a bit, and gets ready for the next day. And this section has a fantastic phrasal verb for us. So after she eats, Emma doesn't just say she cleans the kitchen. She uses the phrasal verb clean up. And this is a little more specific than just cleaning. To clean up basically implies a whole process, not just one single action. It's washing the dishes, wiping down the table, putting the leftover food away. It's all the different tasks you do to make a space tidy again after you've used it. And there you have it. We've followed Emma all the way from waking up around 7 in the morning to cleaning up in the evening. We've covered time, frequency, and some really key actions. So now the big question is, how can you use this for your own routine? Let's end with a question for you. Using some of the language we just went over, really think about it. What is the very first thing you do in the morning? Do you wake up and then get up right away? Or do you stay in bed for a while? Just being able to describe that one simple action is the first step to telling the entire story of your day in English.
Welcome to the deep dive. We often talk about, the big complex issues. But today we're looking at complexity that's kind of hidden in simplicity.
Right.
Our mission is to really analyze the simple language we use every day to describe our routines, our lives.
Yeah, the architecture of routine. It's like a linguistic shortcut, isn't it?
Exactly.
And for you listening, if you want to quickly get how we talk about time, frequency, action, well, this deep dive should really help.
We're using a great source for this. It's a detailed look at a typical day for a university student.
Emma. She's 22, studying psychology. And her schedule, from waking up till about 11 p.m., it's a perfect map.
A map for understanding how we structure time, track habits, all through just everyday words.
Okay, so let's start right at the beginning. Emma's day, she usually wakes up, and the key phrase here is around 7 in the morning.
That word around, it's actually, it's doing a lot of work there psychologically.
How so?
Well, think about it. If she said at 7 sharp, that's pressure. Miss it by a minute, and you feel like you failed. Right, stressful.
But around 7, that gives you wiggle room. It means, about 7 could be 6.58, maybe 7.05, 7.1 even.
So it sets a flexible boundary, a softer target.
Exactly. It's like building flexibility right into the schedule, essential for, not burning out on rigid plans.
That's a really interesting take. It's language as a sort of anti-stress tool. But even with that flexibility, there's a specific sequence. She wakes up first, you stop sleeping, but then she mentions she stays in bed for a few minutes. Only then does she actually get up.
And that distinction, wake up versus get up, it's like universally understood, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
We need both phrases because they're different states. Waking up is passive. Your brain just switches back on.
It just happens.
Right. But getting up, that's active. That takes effort, willpower, movement.
So that little gap, the few minutes in bed.
That's the transition zone from conscious to functional. If you just said, I wake up at 7 and meant you were out of bed, you'd be missing a whole step that most people experience.
Definitely appreciate that functional gap time myself. Okay, so after she does get up, wash face, brush teeth, it's breakfast time, and she calls it a quick breakfast.
Quick breakfast, yeah. Toast, jam, tea.
What's quick telling us? Just fast.
It's more than just speed, I think. It signals low cognitive load, low effort.
Oh, okay. Minimal thinking involved.
Right, minimal decisions, minimal prep, probably minimal cleanup. It says her priority isn't a fancy meal.
It's efficiency. Get fueled, get moving.
Exactly. Move on to the next thing, which is class.
And that involves a commute. She leaves around 8 a.m., aiming for an 8:30 a.m. class. She says, it only takes me 10 minutes to get there.
Right. that structure. It takes me X minutes. That's fundamental.
We use it all the time.
We do. We use the verb take to talk about how much time or sometimes even effort something requires. You wouldn't usually say, the university is 10 minutes away from my house.
No, you'd say it takes 10 minutes to get there.
Precisely. The focus is on the investment of time, your personal time cost.
So it frames it from your perspective, not just the distance.
Yeah. And it works for effort, too. Like, you might ask, how long did it take you to finish that report? Or did it take much effort?
Got it. It defines the resource drain.
And when she adds, it only takes 10 minutes, what does that suggest?
Relief. That it's not a long commute. It's easy.
Yeah, it implies the travel time isn't a burden. It's manageable. A small detail, but revealing.
Okay, so moving into the main part of her day, the university part, Emma typically has 2 or 3 classes in the morning. Psychology focus.
Standard student schedule, yeah.
Lunch is set for 12:30 p.m. Rice, chicken, salad, sometimes juice. Seems pretty consistent.
The academic stuff is often quite rigid, right? Classes have fixed times.
True, but then she talks about breaks and things get a bit looser. She mentions students often go to the cafeteria.
Okay, so now we're shifting from talking about specific times to talking about frequency. Habits.
With adverbs like often.
Exactly. Often.
Yeah.
What does that tell us? It describes a common behavior or routine, but one that isn't 100% guaranteed.
So it happens a lot, but not always.
Right. Think of it like a scale. You've got always at one end, never at the other. Often sits somewhere high up, but not at the very top.
More than sometimes.
Definitely more than sometimes. If they always went, skipping would feel like breaking a rule. If they sometimes went, it'd be more random.
But often suggests it's the default, the usual thing to do.
Yes. It implies a strong habit, an expectation, but crucially, it leaves room for variation without feeling like something's wrong. It's flexible expectation.
That makes sense. It communicates the pattern without locking it down rigidly. Like if you say, I often read before bed.
Right. It's your norm, but hey, sometimes you're too tired, or you watch a movie instead. No big deal.
It signals your priorities, maybe.
I think so. And look how she contrasts it later. In the afternoon, she's usually at the library studying or doing homework. Standard stuff.
Okay.
But then she adds, or sometimes she has more classes or group projects.
So often for the regular social break, sometimes for the extra, less predictable academic stuff.
Exactly. Sometimes is lower on that frequency scale. It tells you it happens, but it's variable, maybe dependent on deadlines or specific courses.
It's contingent.
Yes. It doesn't happen often enough to be a core expected part of every day. Using both often and sometimes paints a much richer picture of her schedule's rhythm.
You see the stable parts and the fluctuating parts.
Precisely. The default social pattern is stable, often, but the afternoon workload can vary sometimes. It's the language of, balancing life.
Okay, so the academic day wraps up. Emma finishes her classes and heads home around 5 p.m. There's that around again.
Yep. Approximate time for the end of the structured part of the day. Makes sense.
But she doesn't go straight home. She mentions stopping at a small market for snacks or fruit. On the way.
On the way. Another one of those super efficient little phrases.
What's the structural insight there? It just means it's along her route, right?
Yes, but think about why we have that phrase. It highlights efficiency, integration.
Meaning she's not making a separate trip.
Exactly. It's not I went home, then I went out again to the market. It's combined. She's multitasking her journey and her errand.
Minimizing effort, minimizing extra time.
Right. Going out of your way implies a higher cost time, maybe energy. On the way signals that this stop is convenient, low friction. It fits into the existing flow.
We value that kind of efficiency enough to have specific language for it.
Seems like it. We linguistically flag integrated chores.
Interesting. Okay, so she gets home, market stop done, first thing, changes into comfy clothes and rests for a while.
Back to duration, but this one's fuzzy. For a while.
Yeah, how long is a while? It could mean anything.
It's totally subjective, isn't it? Unlike 10 minutes. But its function here is pretty clear. It signals a break.
A pause.
Yeah, a pause that's long enough to feel like a proper rest, to recharge a bit, but not so long that it eats up the whole evening or disrupts the next thing.
So maybe half an hour? An hour?
Probably in that ballpark, given her overall schedule. It's that buffer time, the psychological reset she needs, watching YouTube, chatting online, low-stress stuff.
A wind down before the evening's tasks.
Exactly. Before that second push.
Which involves dinner. Around 7:30 p.m., she cooks something simple, pasta or soup.
Simple. Just like the quick breakfast. Same principle.
Easy to make, not much thought required after a long day.
Yes. The complexity level is deliberately low. It's a defense against decision fatigue at the end of the day.
Makes total sense.
Oh.
And after dinner, she says, I clean up the kitchen.
Clean up. That's a phrasal verb doing some heavy lifting there.
What does it encompass? More than just washing our own plate.
Oh, yeah. Clean up the kitchen implies restoring order. It usually means washing dishes, wiping down surfaces at the table, counters putting food away, maybe taking out the trash.
Tidying the space, returning it to a neutral state.
Right. It's setting a boundary. Dinner's done. The kitchen work is complete. It signals the end of that particular phase of the evening routine.
Okay. And the final steps before bed? Some more studying or reading, a shower.
Standard wind-down activities.
And then that very modern habit, checking your phone one last time.
One last time. That phrase is so deliberate, isn't it?
Yeah, it feels like drawing a line.
It is. It's linguistically marking the absolute end of active engagement with the outside world with screens before trying to sleep. It's the final boundary before the sleep period begins.
Which happens around 11 p.m., bringing us full circle back to that flexible approximate time.
Yep. The routine starts and ends with that gentle boundary. Hashtag outro. So if we just pull back for a second, what we've really seen is that talking effectively about your day, your life, it doesn't always need fancy words.
No, it hinges on these small structural words.
Exactly. Things like around, take, often, sometimes for a while on the way, clean up. They're like the hidden beams and joints of our daily structure.
They let Emma and, well, you, listening, define the difference between things you have to do and things you choose to do.
Obligation versus choice. Effort versus convenience.
And understanding that structure, how these words work, it's actually really powerful, isn't it?
It is. It helps you analyze your own habits, your own time use, why you do things the way you do.
And how you communicate that commitment, that effort to other people. It gives you a bit more control over the story of your own time.
You move beyond just, listing tasks. You start to build a real picture of your priorities and how you manage things.
So thinking about those structures, we wanted to leave you with a final thought. We talked about that gap in Emma's morning.
The wake up versus get up distinction.
Right. The passive moment of waking versus the active choice to get out of bed. So for you, listening, think about your own routine. How long does that gap actually last?
Yeah. What's the real time duration? How many minutes does it actually take you? From the moment your eyes open to the moment your feet hit the floor.
Something to ponder. Until next time, keep exploring the architecture of your everyday.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.